Howdy folks, welcome back to my World of Tanks replays with the mighty Jingles. Today we're in the garage with the American Tier 5 light scout tank, the M24 Chaffee. This is a fantastic little tank. It's one of my all-time favourites. I'm not that good at playing it, but it's one of those tanks that, a lot like the T50-2, when it's good, it's really good. How does it play compared to the other Tier 5 light tanks? Well, completely differently, if we're going to be totally honest. It's obviously, well, you're going to have to draw comparisons against its obvious competitors, which are the Russian T50-2 and the German VK2801. Now, I have never played a VK2801. I really didn't fancy the grind all the way through the Leopard, which isn't that good a machine, in my opinion. But this isn't about the Leopard. Trying to get the 2801 unlocked. I'll probably get it one day. I certainly want to get all the German tanks, and I'm nearly there. But it just didn't interest me. Before these tanks came out, I had a look at them on the test server. I read the reviews of them, and the 2801 looked like the weakest of the two. Your experience may differ. I've never played it. I don't know. What I have played is the T50-2 and the Chaffee. The T50-2, as by now everybody knows, fastest tank in the game, 72 kilometers per hour top speed. I think the M18 Hellcat can also do 72 kilometers per hour, but it doesn't have the agility of this thing. This thing turns on a dime. It's legendary. It's like the Ferrari of the light tanks. It's just awesomely quick and maneuverable. Doesn't have a very good gun though. I mean, you know, it does the job, but it's not very accurate. And that's where the Chaffee's different. Whereas this thing can do 72 kph, that's a 46 degree traverse speed, and a 367 meter view range. The Chaffee, well, it's sort of the complete opposite. It's not slow. Don't let anybody tell you the Chaffee's slow. It isn't. It's not as fast as the other two. It's certainly the slowest of the Tier 5 lights, but it can do 56 kph. 46 degrees traverse speed. Just as good, just as maneuverable as the 2801. 402 meter view range. Now that is exceptionally good. That's better than most Tier 10 tanks. So what the Chaffee has going for it is very good maneuverability, not as good top speed, incredible view range, and a fantastic gun. And that's going to dictate how you play it completely differently to the T50-2. Whereas the T50-2, because it doesn't have as good, it's still not a bad view range, but in the games this thing gets thrown into, it's probably going to have the shortest view range on the battlefield. So the T50-2 scouts by charging forward and using its small size and its speed and maneuverability to avoid fire. And that's how it detects enemy tanks. And it's very good at doing that, and it's a lot of fun. The Chaffee, on the other hand, doesn't have that top speed. It is significantly slower than the T50-2. It's not slow, but it doesn't have the speed to pull off what the T50-2 can do. However, it does have much better view range. So the Chaffee is more of a bush scout. It's fast enough to get forward to a strategic point on the battlefield in cover and sit there and wait. Now, there's no two ways about this. A lot of T50-2 drivers cannot stand the Chaffee because you do need to be a lot more patient when you play the Chaffee, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If your idea of a fun game is not sitting in a bush for the first 5 minutes of a game, not shooting anything and just waiting, then don't get the Chaffee because you'll hate it. It definitely requires a completely different playstyle to the other Tier 5 light tanks. Unfortunately, that is where it is very good. And remember, not a lot of people know this, it's part of the game mechanics. As a scout, or as any tank, targets that you have detected, even if you don't put a single point of damage into them, as long as you have them lit up and you remain detecting them, everybody on your team who hits them, you earn 50% of the credits and experience that they earn for damaging and killing them. and that's where the Chaffee, well, it's part of where the Chaffee earns its money. The T50-2 can do that as well, but it usually doesn't live long enough to earn the full benefit of the damage that's done to the tanks that it detects. Playing the T50-2 is a very high risk lifestyle, very rewarding when it works, but it's risky. The Chaffee's a lot safer, and that may appeal to you. Now, after the Chaffee has done its thing, it's been sitting in the bush on Malinovka, and it's been detecting all the enemy tanks going up the hill, and your artillery has wreaked absolute havoc on them. That's where the Chaffee unleashes its claws, and it's all because of this gun and that manoeuvrability. What the Chaffee excels at, better than the T50-2 or the VK2801, is leaping out of the bushes halfway through a battle and wreaking havoc amongst the wounded heavies. That's all because of this gun. Now, you do have to get the upgraded turret, which a lot of people think is ugly, before you can fit this gun. It's the 76mm T94 gun, and it's basically, it's a lot like the 76mm gun on the EZ8. The rate of fire is absolutely phenomenal, 18.2 rounds per minute. It's pumping a shot out about every 2.5 seconds. The penetration is good enough for getting through the sides and rear of even heavy tanks. It's more than good enough for dealing with artillery. The damage is, well, it's what you'd expect of a Tier 6 76mm gun, 115. It's about the same amount of damage that the Sherman and the Panzer IV push out, but with better penetration and a much faster rate of fire. The accuracy, 0.39, it's not a sniping gun. And most of the time you find yourself sitting in a bush spotting targets with this thing. You should not be shooting at them, because that gives you position away, and then you're a dead scout, and a dead scout is no good to your team. Where you use this gun is after you've spotted all the targets, they've all been damaged, and then you rush out, and then you start shooting at them, circling them, using this incredibly good traverse speed to keep around them, keep away from their gun, and just pumping shots out with that rate of fire into their sides and rear. And the aiming time is incredibly good, 1.7 seconds. And at point blank range, which is where you're going to be doing most of your killing of this thing, that accuracy does not matter. The turret turns very, very quickly, 39 degrees per second. It is child's play keeping that gun pointed at a heavy tank while you are outracing his turret traverse and keeping those shots piling into him. And that is what the Chaffee does better than any other Tier 5 light tank. So, equipment. Well, what you'll find a lot of Chaffee drivers do is they go with coated optics rather than binocular telescope. Binocular telescope works fine as well, but that gives it an effective view range of 442 meters at all times, even on the move. Improve ventilation, just for the extra 5% of all the crew skills. And at first, they use a camouflage net. And the reason for that is, well, because it does spend more time stationary than the other two. A camouflage net would be a complete waste of time on a T50-2 or a VK2801. The Chaffee, however, does spend time sitting in bushes, lighting targets up. So at first, a lot of Chaffee drivers use a Camo Net until they get 100% camouflage on their crew. And at that point, they swap it out for a vertical stabilizer, for more accuracy during movement and turret rotation, because moving and turning your turret is where this thing gets its kills. So I'm not quite at that stage yet. I haven't really played the Chaffee enough, but as soon as these guys get camouflaged to 100%, that'll be coming off and a vertical stabilizer will be going on. Speaking of crew skills, well, I've gone with Recon on the Commander just for even more view range. It's not a lot, but every little helps. I've gone with Snapshot on the Gunner, more accuracy during turret rotation just to guarantee those shots hit, and they usually do. The driver, well, I've gone with Camo on the driver. You could just as easily, the drivers do get some good skills. Smooth Ride is a very good choice. Off-road driving is also a very good choice. I've just gone with Camouflage because I like not getting shot at. Either three, perfectly fine choices for this thing. Radio Operator, again, you could go with, is it Situational Awareness? Yep, for more view range, but I've gone with Camouflage. The other skills, Stuff like signal boosting and relaying are, I think of them as clan wars skills. Your team isn't going to care or appreciate the fact that you have these skills on your scout. If you're in a clan doing clan wars, they certainly will. And loader, well, loaders don't get any skills other than the obvious repairs, firefighting, and camo. Loaders just get perks, and none of these are any use to a Chaffee driver. If you get hit, you're probably going to die. Having increased ammo rack durability ain't going to save you. So again, I've gone with camouflage on him. But there are options. You don't have to go with what I've gone with. Obviously you don't. It's your game. You play it the way you want. But that's what I've gone for, and that's why I've done it. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Why do I not have a fire extinguisher? Let's fix that. Silly me. There we go. Resupply automatically. Yeah. Okay, right, well, enough messing around in the garage. Let's see how this little bugger performs. Well, here it is in action. It's quite an unusual match for the Chaffee. It's only a tier 7 game. And you don't see many of these. I mean, the Chaffee can get into tier 7 games. It can get into tier 6 games. It doesn't happen very often. The usual battleground you get into is tier 8, 9 or 10 matches. And the Chaffee doesn't have a problem with those on the right map. You can have real problems with one of these things in Himmelsdorf, for example, in a tier 10 game. Because, like the other tier 5 light tanks, you really do need room to manoeuvre in this thing. Now, it is not as fast as the T50-2 or even as fast as a VK2801. It does play completely differently to the other two. But it's still not slow. It can do 55 kph, and it's very, very quick to turn. And of course, it has the best view range of any of those tier 5 lights. And as you can see, that is more than good enough to see across to the other end of the lake on Lakeville. But the main difference, other than the speed, between the Chaffee and the other tier 5 light tanks is this gun. And it works a lot like the 76mm guns on the American mediums. At long range, it reloads so quickly that it doesn't really matter if a shot misses, because the next one is going to be on target. And you don't find yourself using this gun at long range very often. But up close, it is absolutely devastating. And it very, very rarely misses. Now, I'm running the Chaffee with a Camo Net, because and what a lot of Chaffee drivers will do is they will replace that Camo Net once the crew reaches 100% camo skill. They replace the Camouflage Net with the vertical stabilizer. And that's definitely a good idea. Because where the Chaffee excels is circling isolated enemy tanks and beating the crap out of them. You tend to find you play the first half of the battle sitting in a bush, lighting targets up for your bigger guns. And then when you judge the situation is right, and that's where a large part of the skill comes from playing a Chaffee, is knowing when to pop out and take those shots. Like this Panzer IV, for example. We'll wait for him to fire, let the T-20 take the hit, and then we'll ninja the kill. And then you move on. And in that respect, it's kind of like the T50-2. You never want to be sitting still in this thing unless you're spotting, and you know you're not. You know you haven't been detected. But if you get into a game like this, you can certainly play the thing aggressively. It does have such a good gun. Oh, enemy artillery, and he's turning to face me. Come on, die! Tracked him, but I think his gun can still. Yep. Ah, haha! Too little, too late. You missed, sucker, and I got you. So 2 kills. Badly damaged Jagdpanzer. And now we're coming up on the enemy base. But I really don't want to get shot at by that SU-8, because light tank, low armour, high explosive shots can really mess you up. Oh, we're Sherman.
Enemy is hit.
Yeah, we'll have him.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
And now let's go looking for that artillery. Oh. wreck of that M37 I killed earlier. Whoops. Oh, M7 Priest even. And there's their SU-8.
We've hit them hard. Punch right through their armor. Got him.
Gotcha. And it's decision time. They're capping, we're capping. Any other time, I would definitely, 100% guaranteed, no problem, rushed down that long lakeside road and helped beat the cap. But this time, we've already got a heavy down there resetting the cap for us, and we know they only have 3 tanks in the cap circle, and we've got 4, so I decided to stay. This is a faster guarantee of a win. And a win it was. So what did we actually achieve? Well, 4 kills, damaged the Jagdpanzer 4. The 16 shots we fired, 12 hit the target. It's a good gun. It's a very, very good gun. And it's definitely the advantage, along with its superior view range, that the Chaffee has over the 2801 and the T50-2. It certainly can't beat them in speed. It's practically as manoeuvrable. But you have to play it differently. You see a lot of T50-2 drivers, in my opinion, completely wasting the potential of the machine by just charging straight to the enemy spawn point, getting their scout medal and dying. What has that achieved? So at the beginning of the game, all the enemy tanks are in the spawn point, are they? Well, thanks for that, Einstein. I would never have guessed, and you've basically just written off the potential of such a great, great little tank. The Chaffee can't get away with that. It just isn't fast enough. I mean, it ain't slow. I do 55 kph. But where it excels is sitting in a bush, quiet. And this isn't for everybody, I freely confess. A lot of people are not interested in bush spotting. And if that doesn't float your boat, nothing wrong with that. If that's the case, the Chaffee is not the machine for you. This thing does best in a game, sitting in a bush, in a good spot. It does have the speed to get there, and it does have the camo value to stay there undetected. Sits in a bush, lights up the enemy team, your artillery and your big guns make mincemeat of them, and then it leaps out and absolutely destroys them. And when it comes across lone and isolated heavy tanks, a lot like the AMX series, it is better at killing them than the T50-2. I'm not saying the T50-2 can't do it, I'm not saying the VK2801 can't do it, but the Chaffee is built for doing that. And we've got a quick clip of just that happening. So here we join the Chaffee in what isn't really its natural environment. It's a city map. On the other hand, it is only a tier 6 game. You don't see many of these in the Chaffee. So, you know, enjoy them while you can. It still very much has to look for the right moment. Because it really doesn't have very good armour. And you certainly can't play it on a city map the way you would normally play it as a bush scout, because there aren't any bushes. I'm going to try and track this Jagdpanzer so he can't turn his gun on me. Oh, but he has a friend. Get one more shot and then get out. Somebody hit me there. Don't think it was him. No, leave him to the M6. The T150. Okay, and let's not get shot at by these guys if we can possibly help it. And this is what the Chaffee does. Takes advantage of, just like the French tanks, takes advantage of lone isolated enemies, particularly the heavies, and then gives them a savage kicking.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Now, here we are in a tier 7 game. Still quite far up the list. As you can see, the matchmaker places us above or with the tier 6 tank destroyers, certainly above the rest of the tier 5s, and that's how you have to deal with things when you're in a tier 5 light scout tank.
Time to roll out.
But this time, we're going to have to play things slightly more cautiously and more like a traditional scout. And this is where the Chaffee is just excellent. So what we're going to do here is what the Chaffee excels at, that the T50-2 and the VK2801 just don't. And that's spotting targets for the enemy guns, and then leaping out and savaging the wounded. Now, because this is only a Tier 7 game, I am going to take some shots.
Penetration. That's gotta hurt.
And this 76mm gun is so good.
Their armor. Enemy vehicle destroyed. Penetration.
And it doesn't hit all the time at long range like this. It really is a close range gun. And at close range it is fantastic. But it can still do the job at long range if the situation requires. I think that one hit, didn't see an explosion. Yep, there we go. Oh, they're trying to outflank us. Okay, well, we can take care of that. So this is an attack defend. It's an assault encounter on Sound River. We are defending. And in this game, I pretty much light up the entire enemy team. Just doing what a Chaffee does best. See, whereas in a T50, T50-2,
Enemy armor is destroyed.
you would be getting in amongst all of the enemy tanks and just not getting hit because of your incredible speed and maneuverability. You can't really do that in a Chaffee. I mean, you can, but the T50-2 definitely has that niche cornered. It's faster, it is more agile. The Chaffee has the best view range of the Tier 5 scouts. And for that reason, you want to be playing more as a spotter than a speed racer. Oh, hello. AMX-12T shooting at me from behind. Hasn't actually wasted hardly any damage, so okay, let's not stick around. Obviously they now know where I am. Keep moving. There's a couple of heavies over there that I can have fun with.
That one didn't go through.
Well, that was unlucky.
That's gotta hurt.
Come on. And Artie finishes him off. And then there's a tiger. And I can certainly, I mean, I will take the Pepsi challenge in a Chaffee against a tiger any day of the week and win. And a lot like the French AMXs, light tanks, the Chaffee loves nothing more than coming across an enemy heavy tank with no friends. Just watch what this gun does to the tiger. There we go.
That's gotta hurt.
And this guy just doesn't have a chance. There is no way he is going to even get a shot at me, let alone kill me.
Enemy on fire.
Oh, and he's on fire. Oh, isn't that a shame? And that's what the Chaffee's good at. Now all we have left at this point is a Hummel and an AMX-12T. I know the AMX-12... Oh, there he is. Yep, he was parked in the traditional spawn point when you're in a random battle on here. He put 3 shots in at my ass, did 93 damage. And I've got a pretty good idea. If I was the Hummel, I know where I would be. So let's go and root him out. Yep, thought so. Now we do have 3 artillery of our own here. Luckily it should be quite safe for me to get close in because 2 of them have just fired. That's the one thing I will say when you're driving one of these things or any light tank and you get near the enemy artillery, keep your freaking distance because your artillery will kill you if you get too close. So let's see how we did. Now that's not bad. 3 kills, 5 damage, nearly got the Confederate medal. And God, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 detected. And don't forget, you detect all of those tanks, even though you didn't necessarily damage any of them, you will earn 50% of the credits and the experience that is awarded to the tanks who do damage and kill them, because you're the one who detected them. As long as you stay alive and you keep them illuminated, as long as they're being damaged, you don't have to fire a shot. You're earning credits and experience. So we got the scout badge, and we didn't get it just by charging across the middle of the field and dying in the enemy spawn point. We played intelligently. We fired 37 shots, 25 of them hit the target. We took 4 hits, only one of which actually did any damage, and we got 7,200 experience. That's tripled. It's the Battle of Stalingrad weekend when I played this, but that's over 2,000 experience. Maths was never my strong point. Mental arithmetic I am useless at, but that's what? 2,000 would be 6,000, 1,200, that's 2,400 experience in a tier 5 tank. Now, you're not going to make money on these things. 33,000 credits. For a 2,400 XP game, you still only get 33,000 credits. These things drain money like you wouldn't believe. You have to run other tanks to finance these things, just like you have to run other tanks to finance your tier 10s and some of your tier 9s. They're end of tier tanks, they don't make a lot of money. They are expensive to run. But 2,400 experience in a tier 5 tank. That's not bad. And this is why I absolutely love the Chaffee. I mean, I like the T50-2. It's fun. It's really, really fun to play. It's harder to play the Chaffee in the same role, which is the role that the tier 5 light tanks have. They are dedicated scouts. The Chaffee is definitely harder. I don't do as well on the Chaffee as I do on the T50-2, but when you do well on the Chaffee, you do really, really, really well. I don't think that's my personal XP record, 2,400. I'm pretty sure I've done nearly 2,700 in the Churchill, but that's got to be second best. And this is why I love this machine. It just excels, absolutely excels at lighting up half the enemy team and surviving, keeping them spotted while your artillery and your long-range guns make mincemeat out of them, and then leaping out and savaging isolated or wounded heavy tanks. And it plays kind of a lot like an AMX 1375 or an AMX 1390 in that respect, except it doesn't have the same limitations they do, because it doesn't have an autoloader gun. But it is so agile and maneuverable, whereas the 1390 and the 1375 rely on this massive burst damage that they can put out to cripple and kill isolated enemy tanks. The Chaffee just keeps on rolling. You just keep circling them and you keep plugging away, and it's got something like a 3-second reload or less. And that gun, it penetrates from the sides and rear, no problem, and it has no issues whatsoever keeping at the sides and rears of enemy heavy tanks as they try without fail to turn their turret and hit it, and they just cannot do it because it's so small and it's so quick, and I love it to bits. It's a fantastic little tank. Definitely harder to play than the other two tier 5 light tanks, but so rewarding if you get it right. So that was the Chaffee, American tier 5 light tank in my World of Tanks replays with the mighty Jingles. Catch you next time.